my god, this was way too hard. I have been working on this video for way longer than I should have. I have been rewriting and rewriting and rewriting the script until I finally said, fuck it, I'm just gonna write a script. And then I did it, and I recorded it, and I was almost done editing it. And then when I was at the final minute, just one more minute left to edit, I decided that I hated that video and scrapped it too. I don't know why it was so hard for me to talk about this anime, especially since I loved it so much and gave it a perfect 10 out of 10, but for some reason, it just wasn't going well. So you know what I said? I said, I want to make this video, but the format that I'm working in clearly isn't working. So here I am again, talking about anime, Recovery of MMO Junkie, take 2, in a talking about comics format. For those of you who can't tell the difference between talking about anime and talking about comics, which I've only done like 3 talking about anime videos, talking about anime is largely scripted. Well, what am I saying? It is scripted. Everything about TAA is scripted, while talking about comics is no script at all. I just have notes that I take down while reading the comic, and then before recording, I edit those notes and format them in chronological order, and then I just freeform the whole thing. I just talk about, you know, this, that, and the other. And that's what I kind of plan on doing today, because the number one thing that I don't want you to be while watching my videos is bored. I know that I hate being bored. And this channel is still growing, even though I haven't uploaded a video since December. And that's really weird to me. So I just kind of want to get this video up and out, not only because, you know, I've had a hard time making it and I really want to just, you know, put out a good video, but because I want to get back on track with my uploading schedule. And hopefully this will be the last time you watch a video like this with this kind of quality, because I recently got a new camera, but I didn't set it up for this one because I had to record it. I have been working on the last video for weeks, and hopefully I can get this up and out in a few days after recording so that I'm not leaving you guys hanging for any longer. With that being said, talking about anime, Recovery of MMO Junkie, take 2, let's go fam! For those of you who do not know, Recovery of MMO Junkie is a 10-episode slice-of-life romantic comedy anime based on a web manga by the same name and animated by Satellite MD. MMO Junkie follows a 30-year-old woman named Moriko Morioka, or Mori Mori-san for short, and at the beginning of the series she quits her job. This is because, like many other people working in Japan, she felt like a corporate slave to Japanese office life. She was overworked, unfulfilled, tired, and extremely depressed. So she does what some people in her situation may do. She quits her job, but instead of finding a new one, she becomes a NEET. In fact, Moriko probably calls herself an elite NEET. This isn't because she thinks that she's above anyone else who chose this lifestyle, but because she's happy with this lifestyle. And on her first day of being an elite NEET, she decides that she'd rather pass her time by getting back into MMOs, because she used to play one, but her job made her forget about logging back in, so she had to quit and she ended up losing her account. So after searching for some popular MMO, she comes across one called Fruits de Mer, where she makes a hot guy character named Hayashi. And at first, Moriko royally sucks at this game, but she ends up meeting a cute female healer character named Lily, who ends up teaching her the ropes of the game, and they become friends. Moriko continues to play the game, join Lily's guild, and she's end up sucked into the world of fruits for months. All the while, she grows closer to Lily, but the unspoken rule of MMOs is that you keep your real and personal life separate, because it's just common courtesy. So Lily doesn't know that Hayashi is actually a 30-year-old NEET, and Moriko doesn't know that Lily is a young up-and-coming businessman in his late 20s. Now, when I first watched MMO Junkie, I wasn't expecting to get the kind of quality that I got out of it. I didn't think anyone would write a romance that has a friends-to-lover relationship that all started online, a relationship that takes place between 2 worlds and 4 characters. I didn't think that anyone would ever write a story where the villain was anxiety. I didn't think this type of show with a MMO setting was going to have a primary basic understanding of how MMOs work and what gamers are like when they play these kinds of games. And okay, sure, the show does turn into coincidences the anime, but I'm a bit forgiving of that because you kind of needed to turn this friendship into a romantic relationship, even though the show did have 2 characters that could have helped out more, but the universe, I guess, because through a string of events set up by the universe, Sakurai does eventually figure out that Mori is Hayashi, along with other things that I won't be going into with this video. Please watch the anime, it is really, really good. But what makes this show so good and so special is definitely the characters. They are well written, very realistic, and also very relatable. Not to mention how the show has a clear and fundamental understanding of relationships in the modern day and doesn't shame anyone for their actions or their friendships. The show doesn't shame Mori for becoming a NEET, but it also doesn't romanticize the lifestyle either. Like how we can tell that Mori is clearly very attractive, but we don't see it until she takes care of herself. And before she does that, she's the kind of person who will cover her mirror with a sheet because she just hates looking at herself that much. The show doesn't say that internet friends are not your real friends. It just says that, hey, sometimes you just form relationships with people online and you didn't think that would happen. And it also doesn't talk down to the viewer at well. It just says, hey, this is life. This is what happens, and we're going to try and portray it in a way that's as accurate as possible, which is something that I greatly appreciate, because if written by anyone else, this show could have been a cash grab. It could have been shaming people for having friendships through the internet, but it doesn't, because the show cares and it knows that this happened. I mean, I have friendships that have been held up through the help of Twitter. I talk to some of you guys on a regular basis. I have friends that live out of state who I'm able to keep up with and connect with through social media. Hell, if it wasn't for Twitter keeping me and my current girlfriend connected, we probably would have never hooked up after 2 years of knowing each other. And we're long distance, so thanks technology, you rock. Anyway, back to the characters, because these are some damn strong ones. Mori is probably the best character in this show because she's the most defined one. We understand the reason why she quit her job and why she didn't care to stay there. We understand that she was a good and reliable worker, but based on how she just threw the flowers in her trash bin when she got home, she really doesn't care about that. We understand why she created a character like Hayashi and why she spends most of her time in the virtual world, because there's nothing for her in the real world. There's nothing for her to do. There's no reason for her to keep up her appearance. So why not just, you know, live your life through this hot guy character? Mostly what we understand is her freedom and her fears. Again, she's proud that she chose that lifestyle because being a NEET means freedom. Freedom to eat cheap food, drink beer, and play video games all day. Freedom of doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Freedom to not have to worry about money because you have money in the bank. Freedom to just be yourself, to be happy, because she clearly wasn't that back when she had a job. But being a person who has nothing to offer to society is fulfilling to her. At the same time, being a NEET comes with negative repercussions. Not only is she a very closed-off person, but she's also afraid of being outed as a NEET. Her anxiety keeps her from connecting to people, not to mention her general lack of self-care and low self-esteem. This is where the unromanticization of the NEET lifestyle comes in. Again, it doesn't shame her for choosing this lifestyle. It just says that it isn't the most healthy thing in the world because you're lonely and you have no one to rely on, but she has the internet. And then of course there's Sakurai, the guy who plays as Lily, who isn't as fleshed out or developed as Mori, but is still a pretty goddamn strong character. While Sakurai is definitely more mentally sound than Mori with his high position at his job, friendships, and other things, he's still not a perfect human being. Sakurai is very lonely in real life, even though he does have his best friend. It's still hard for him to connect with other people due to his background. Just like Mori, it's easy to get Sakurai because of his real life situations and background. He plays MMOs for an escape, which is what a lot of us does. But he also plays MMOs for connection, because Sakurai has the best line in his show where he says that he likes to be alone, but he plays MMOs because you're alone but not lonely. No one wants to be alone because being alone is pretty miserable. No one wants to be in Mori's situation of being in a dark room watching the days go by, and no one wants to be like Sakurai where it's hard to connect with other people, which is what makes the internet and MMOs so special to these characters, because of the connection that it allows. Because we all want to connect with someone, there's nothing wrong with trying to feel a little less lonely. And God, at the end of the day, I really don't care that this show does turn into Coincidence is the Anime, because I am in love with this relationship. I just love all of the subtleties about Morioka and Sakurai, like how they feel more like friends than lovers, because they are. They've been friends for months but didn't know it. I love how the relationship isn't forced and it just takes its sweet time with all of those little subtleties that makes it so special. I especially love how Sakurai approaches a romantic relationship with caution, because he doesn't want his friendship with Mori to turn sour, lose contact with her, and force one of them to quit the game, because that's something that they both need. It's just a nice, steady relationship between two flawed and kind of broken people, and you really root for these two to meet that end game, because the relationship is so well done, because the friendship is so well done, because these characters are so well done. You want them to get together because you want them to be happy. Moving on from that, there are some other characters. Speaking of Kowai, who is best boy, fuck you, fight me. Kowai is amazing. He is hysterical, he is friendly, he's outgoing, he's cheerful, he is just an absolute bro to Sakurai. Kowai was one of the people who helped get Sakurai and Mori's relationship rolling by setting Sakurai up on an unofficial date with her, but Kowai is also interested in Mori, because it turns out that the two knew each other but haven't really kept up. And even though that he's interested in Mori, he knows that Sakurai is more interested in him, so he's rooting for his bro to get the girl, but at the same time he does go out on one date with her, because if Sakurai were to give Mori up, Kowai is going to go in and get her for himself. And it's played completely cool and straight in the show. It isn't funny, it isn't saying Kowai is a bad person. He's a great person and a great friend, and he isn't going to just backstab his bro like that. The other characters in the show are the people that are a part of Mori and Lily's very small guild. And I really like the supporting cast, because they're all people that you've probably played with in an MMO. You have Lily, who's the talkative one, who's interested to know who everybody is in real life, but will still respect their privacy. Kokotaro, that is a really hard name to say, who's the one with the best advice. Himelda, I can't say it, fuck me. But she's the person who's just here for the fun of it. And then, of course, you have Kanbei, who is the second person that helps get this relationship rolling, because Kanbei is kind of the ring bearer in this guild. He's the only person who knows who and what everybody is in real life, and he tries to listen to them and help them while also respecting their privacy and keeping their privacy private. But unfortunately, Kanbei feels like one of the more wasted characters in this show, because there are times where he's played up more for comedy, but I also feel like there are times where he could have done more to help Mori and Sakurai get to this relationship and maintain this relationship, but universe was like, nah fam. Writers were like, nah fam. So Kanbei, you're cool, but I don't know, faulty writing, I guess. Moving on from that, I kind of unfortunately have to praise the directing of the show. Giving credit where credit is due, this was a solidly made show. It's obvious to tell that it didn't have the biggest budget, but the animators and the director really did what they could with what they had. The opening is hypnotic, not as hypnotic as, say, this season's Woltakoi OP, but I appreciate a good use of optical illusions. Plus, there's all the little subtleties in this show. There's a lot of really good show don't tell moments, like how we can tell how long Mori has been playing Fruits, and that she does have quite a bit of money saved up based on the change in seasons and her serious PC upgrades, or how we can tell the difference between Mori and Sakurai's real life personalities and their online personas. Mori is closed off while Hayashi is sociable. Sakurai is hardworking while Lily is more carefree. Along with just some really cool little things, like how in episode 1, with a single line, we can tell that Himelda and Kokotaro are a married couple in real life, or how we can tell that Kowai's equipment is really shitty based on how his camera seriously lags in the EV. This is just really smart and effective directing that unfortunately came from a piece of shit Nazi director. I both love it and hate it at the same time, but again, credit where credit is due. And then of course it's the English dub, which is really good, but what do you expect from Funimation? I really like Terry Doty as a voice actress. I think that over the years that she's been working, she's really skilled and really good at what she does, and she really deserves more main roles. I was hoping that she was going to play Mori, because Mori is a character that just fits in her range, and she does deserve more main roles because she just has an army of little boy voices, which unfortunately subjects her to supporting roles most of the time. If you watch Josh Greeley on Twitch, you would know that he is pretty much the real life Sakurai. He too is a longtime gamer with an MMO session. He plays quite a bit of World of Warcraft, and he also plays Sea of Thieves for a while there. And whenever he plays, he always plays as female characters just because he likes it. So yeah, he kind of embodies Sakurai. To mention that he's just a really skilled and charming and talented voice actor. I love the sentimental moments between Mori and Sakurai because Josh just owns that role. He's really good at doing moments like that. So yeah, good job, but I want to say he's the best voice actor in this show because that definitely goes to Ian Sinclair as Kowai. Ian is just a hysterical voice actor. His best roles are comedy roles like this one with Dandy from Space Dandy and Brooke from One Piece. And with Kowai being the comedic relief, he was right in his element with this show. So yeah, good job director, 10 out of 10 casting. I will admit I had my problems with Aaron Dismuke and Natalie Hoover as Hayashi and Lily, but those are just like kind of minor little nitpicks. Other than that, they're still pretty good. And the final thing I want to talk about before wrapping this video up is the reason why I gave this show a 10 out of 10. The most perfect moment in the show, which is the final scene. So yeah, spoiler, skip ahead to the time. The final scene of the show was just effective to me because at the end of the show, Mori decides that she does need Sakurai and they decide to give the romantic relationship a shot. But after spending several months as friends and being romantically inexperienced, when going off on their first official date, they're nervous. They act like teenagers going on their first date ever with the first person they've ever dated. And while they can barely speak to each other, behind them are Hayashi and Lily. They look calm and confident. And here these two are in real life who can barely say anything. And when Mori falls and Sakurai catches her, he decides not to let go of her hand because he wants this. And so does she. So while they walk off to their date, their avatars behind them run off giggling because they're about to go do their own thing, while these two are just a wreck but are committed to doing this. And that moment was just so powerful and effective to me that I couldn't help but give it a real 10 out of 10 because of how real it was.
Damn, I'm jealous! Those are two happy MMO junkies!
If you would like to watch Recovery of an MMO Junkie, you can watch it right now through sub on Crunchyroll.com or in its English dub through Funimation. Unfortunately, you will need to have a Funimation Now account in order to watch the full English dub, but it's worth it even though the website does have a few bugs, so hopefully it'll get to fixing that. If you would like to follow me, then all of my links will be on screen right now, like my Twitter, Twitch, Ko-fi, and Mal. I honestly want to delete that Ko-fi because I hadn't had a regular upload schedule since December. But hopefully I will be able to earn your guys' support and trust once again. Thank you all so much for watching this video. My name is Ari, and these two have kind of been screaming at me to talk about them. So I'm gonna go do that. Bye!